This is the Louie T Network. Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Who else could it be? Me, your me, Louie T. Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Louie. Thank you for joining me. This is the NFL Draft Prospects 101, your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names the 2015 NFL Draft. We're talking wide receivers, and one of the most prolific receivers in college football history, not let alone just this draft, is none other than Alabama's Amari Cooper. Coming into the season, he was the guy that everybody was paying attention to, and for good reason. You look at his pros, and we start with his size. He's got good size. It isn't great size because in this day and age in the National Football League, guys are getting bigger and bigger every single year. I remember when 6'1", 211 pounds was an awesome size, and to me, it still is. But now with guys being 6'2", and 6'3", and 6'4", and 6'5", I mean, it's ridiculous now how big these receivers are and how fast they are. Just because you're bigger doesn't mean you're any slower these days, which back in the day, if you were a big guy, you were probably slow. That's not the case anymore, but at 6'1", 211, Amari Cooper has good size for the NFL game. And he has a very extensive rap sheet in terms of his production in college, and a lot of accolades, set so many records at Alabama. And to me, another pro for him is his excellent collegiate production. The numbers that he put up at Alabama over the life of his career, they're staggering. And that shows the ability to be a number one receiver, the ability for a franchise to put their trust in you to be the guy from day number one. A team can feel really good about saying, hey, I got a young quarterback that needs a running mate for the next decade. Can you be that guy? And all Amari Cooper has to say is go look at my college career and you tell me, can I be that guy? His numbers speak for themselves. This guy is a workhorse, and you can hitch the wagon to him and he'll get the job done. Versatility is another huge proponent for Mr. Cooper. Here's a guy that played all over the field, can play X, Y, and Z. Not a lot of receivers in this draft can lay claim to that. And you feel really good about them being outside against a 6'2" corner, also being inside against a shifty, corner that can move and laterally and stay with guys. He can go all over the field and still be dominant at each and every single position on the field, something that many receivers in this draft cannot lay claim to. Outstanding route runner. That really speaks to him being able to be versatile and move around, because you gotta be an exceptional route runner to play in a slot. You can't be one of these guys that's lethargic and can't get in and out of breaks and can't be shifty and try to play in a slot. You will get eaten alive in this league in the slot if you are slow with your movements. Guys are quick twitch athletes in the slot, and they will jump in front of you and pick a route off if you're not fast enough out of your breaks. He's an exceptional route runner. You want a prime example of this guy's route running ability? Go check that 2013 Auburn tape. That out and up, when his team had their back against the goal line, that out and up for a 99-yard touchdown speaks volumes right there. Yakster, he's a yakster. I already talked about this with Kevin White, and I'm talking about it again with Amari Cooper, and I will talk about it with just about every one of these guys that probably come off the board in the first round or have a chance to come off the board in the first round. You gotta be a yakster. You gotta be a guy that can take the smallest of plays and turn them into huge game changers. You gotta be a guy that can take a 5-yard pass and turn it into a 55-yard pass. Gotta be a guy that takes a 16-yard pass and have the ability to turn it into a 63-yard pass. In the National Football League, the margin of error is so small that you've got to be able to turn things around at the drop of a hat. Amari Cooper is that type of player. And Alabama threw a lot of short passes, so he had to turn himself into a yakster. If he wasn't one before he got to Alabama, he certainly turned himself into one because of what they asked him to do. A lot of bubble screens, a lot of hitches, a lot of slants, a lot of short plays that got the football into his hands quickly and allowed him to do the rest he is a gapster, and that is a huge part of his game and a huge part of his appeal at the next level. Catches the football in traffic. There are a number of times where he had to make some catches where guys were draped all over him, and that's a great quality to have at the next level, because I just talked about the margin of error being so small in the National Football League that you got to be able to make catches in traffic. You're not going to have, a lot of space. In college football, you don't see great corners week in, week out. You might see a great corner in week 1. You don't see another good corner until week 6. You may not see another one after that until week 11. They are few and far between at the college level. In the NFL, guys are going to be around, and you're going to have to make some tough catches in traffic. The windows are so much smaller. Going to have to make some plays. Amari Cooper can do exactly that. He plays to his time speed. I question, me and a buddy of mine, we question Amari Cooper's speed. And I don't know why we did. I think it's something about these Alabama guys that I just don't think they're that fast. I remember, I thought Julio Jones wasn't as fast as he was. Then when he showed up at the combine and ripped that time, and I was blown away. I'm like, Julio Jones is really that fast? Man, I don't know what it is about Alabama receivers that I just think they can't be that fast. They really can't be that fast. I don't know what it is, but watching the tape, this guy runs just as fast as he ran at the combine. I think he ran a 4.4240, something along those lines. He plays to that type of speed. I believe it was that same Auburn game where he actually takes like a jet sweep and gets to the outside and dives into the end zone. Maybe a different game. Either way, he shows the acceleration on that particular play. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know he had that in him. And the acceleration and the burst and the speed, it's all there. You see it on tape. The guy plays to that speed. He's a lot faster than I was giving him credit for. And I think some people might have questioned his speed. I don't know if they did or not. He answered a lot of questions at the combine, but the tape doesn't lie. The guy's fast. He just is. And so his biggest attribute to me is the fact that he tracks the football beautifully in the air. I mean, there weren't many times that I saw him lose the football in the air. And there were a number of times where he'd be looking for the football over the inside shoulder, and Blake Sims would throw the football over the opposite shoulder to the outside. And so he'd be running full speed inside looking for the football. Next thing you know, football's tailing over the outside shoulder. So he's still running full speed, looks back up as he turns away from the football, relocates it over the outside shoulder, and catches it like nothing ever happened. Like he was always expecting the football. Do you see, as an ex-receiver, and I didn't play at a high level, of course, but I can respect that. Knowing how hard it is to track the football over one shoulder, let alone first of all, just catching the football over your shoulders is hard in itself. If you're not a great athlete with great hand-eye coordination, you're going to struggle just catching it over the shoulder. Try doing that when trying to look for it over one shoulder and then having to quickly adjust to the other and have the football be there in a hurry. He did it like it was him just drinking a cup of water. I mean, it was just like him taking a breath. It was just effortless. And he does this on just about every throw. Ball behind him, no problem. Pluck it out of the air from behind him. Ball low, he's running full speed. Ball's lower than he anticipates. He just goes down, doesn't lose stride, just goes down, tracks the football. He does an excellent job of tracking the football, does Amari Cooper. And again, in a draft so deep with receivers, anything you can do to distinguish yourself from all the other guys helps you tremendously. And that's something I think he might do better than anybody in this draft. You go from his pros to his cons. He is a willing blocker, and I like that. I like the fact because blocking is much like rebounding in basketball. It's something that you have to want to do. And as a receiver, a lot of receivers, they don't have any interest in blocking. He will block. I just want to see him be more physical and show me more effort. Okay, so you want to block, give me the effort then. Give me everything you got on that play. Don't give me a half-assed effort. And so the Florida game in 2014, to me, you see a number of things from him in that game, and we're going to talk about a couple of them in these cons. You go to that Florida 2014 game, and you'll see a lot of what I'm talking about in one game. It's actually a really, really telling game. I mean, you get a lot out of very, very nutritional game. A lot of nutritional value in that Florida 2014 game from Amari Cooper. There's one play, and this is the play that confirmed it for me, that because sometimes you say, well, maybe that's all the guy can do. Maybe he's just not a strong blocker. Maybe he can't get physical. You know, some guys can get physical. Maybe he's just one of these guys that can get in the way. Then I saw the Florida game where he goes up to a guy on a run play, engages with him, picks him up and throws him on the ground. I'm like, damn, you can do that all the time. Why not? You know, if you can do that once, you can do it again. And so, because I saw that, that changed my whole frame of mind on him as a blocker. Because now I know you can be physical. You just got to give me more effort. So, in the run game, I just want more effort from him. He blocks, he's willing to block. I just want to see you be more physical. Not an explosive leaper or high pointer of the football. That's the next con. Now, he didn't have to do that because it's not a big part of his game. But at the next level, I talked about with Kevin White, and a lot of these guys in the first round that you're going to see, these 6'3" monsters and these Jalen Strongs of the world, these guys go up and get the football at its highest point. And in this day and age in the National Football League, quarterbacks trust guys that they can just throw it up to and they'll make a play for them. And a lot of times with the quarterbacks that are the most prolific in the league, they have one of these guys that will go up and make a play on the football for them when it seems like it's just, you know, a garbage time throw. You just throw it up there and you're hoping, it's a hope and prayer type of throw. He's not one of those type of guys, okay? He's one of these guys that's going to catch the football, he's going to run great routes, and he's going to create separation with his route running, can't catch it in traffic, but he's not going up and high point the football. Look at the Florida game. He catches a touchdown, and he actually high points the football and catches it in the end zone for a touchdown. Only thing is, it's a very unimpressive. Now, it's impressive because it's two Florida defenders. He goes up and does something that I don't normally see him do, which is go high point the football. The guy got this high off the ground, and he was able to wrestle the football away. It was impressive as a catch for him, but you know, in terms of these guys that are going up and taking the football away from guys, it was very minuscule in that sense. But he didn't get up high, you know, and at the next level, if that same pass is thrown, there's no way he's coming down with that football unless the defender is not looking or has no wherewithal or no ability athletically to go up and get the football. There's no way he's coming down with that football. It wasn't the best of throws. It wasn't the best catch. It was a good catch for him. But it just displayed the fact that he's not going up and high pointing the football against the elite athletes in the National Football League. He can't do it. That's not his game. So that's not something that he's going to excel at the next level. Will push off. And that's something he also will get in trouble for from time to time. He will push off a defender to create a little bit of extra separation. It's funny because when you get away with it, we call you a savvy receiver. And Amari Cooper is a savvy receiver. He's one of these guys that he won't be fast forever, but I could easily see him being a Reggie Wayne, 12 years from now, when his career is starting to wind down, but he still can run routes. He can still sit down in zone coverage and understands how to get open and still find a way to create a target for a quarterback, like I feel like Roddy White will be able to do for the next 3 or 4 years in Atlanta. He'll still be a productive guy despite getting up there in age. I think Amari Cooper is one of those guys, but he's going to be one of these guys that will also, at the end of a play, push off, And if the official feels like throwing the flag that day, he'll get a couple of PIs because he's a guy that will push off to try to create just that little extra bit of separation to make sure he catches the football. This is the biggest one for me though, right here. This is the biggest con. Mike Mayock speaks about this all the time. It's the drops. He had 4 drops against LSU, and then he had a touchdown drop against Auburn in 2013. And if you recall, that was the game that cost them a shot at the national championship in 2013. Remember, that was the miracle finish with the missed field goal that was returned for a touchdown. Auburn wins that game and ends up going to the national championship where they ultimately lose to Florida State. But that could have been Alabama going back to the national championship once again. But they lose this game, and Amari Cooper drops a touchdown in the end zone. They actually end up going for it on 4th down on that same possession. Do not get it. They end up losing the football game. So that's a huge play in a game where they actually don't get it done. So look, gotta catch the football. And for a guy that is as good as he is, and I don't think he has a drop problem per se, just every now and again, he has lapses in concentration and will put the football on the ground in the form of a drop. So that's just something he's just gotta just concentrate, because the guy can catch. He plucks it out of the air. It's clean. He has no problems catching a football. He just gotta concentrate. Can't run before you catch it. You can't ball without the ball. So he's just gotta catch the football. And so that's Amari Cooper in a nutshell, and his NFL Draft Prospects 101 breakdown. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me. More receivers to break down. This guy's going off the board quick. Wouldn't be surprised and would not be shocked if the Raiders took him at 4 instead of Kevin White. Either way, the guy is not going to last long. If he's not first, he'll be second off the board. See you next time, talking more receivers. There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at InTheLabRoom, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.